Hi everybody, I'm Hugo Cordova, and welcome to this week's edition of the Major Rundown. Remember, every single week it's about Millsaps athletics. Also, you can catch us on the air every Wednesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. on Metro TV and on the web at gomajors.com and on the Millsaps Athletics YouTube channel. Here's what you'll see on this week's edition of the Major Rundown.
Earlier this week, the Southern Athletic Association All-Conference football team and the Players of the Year were announced, and Millsaps swept the major awards. We'll hand out the honors and visit with head coach Aaron Pelch about the Major's successful season on this week's show. But hey, it's basketball season now, and the men's and women's teams have opened up the new campaign. We'll sit down with women's head coach Chuck Winkelman and preview the new season. And we'll meet some of the key players on this year's team. That's all this week on the Major Rundown.
Here's what happened last week around the Major Nation.
As we said, round ball season is here, and the men's and women's teams officially tipped it off last week. The men opened up on the road in the Bob Mason Classic at Austin College. The guys dropped the first game to the Roos, but came back to beat Dallas 52-46 on Saturday. The women opened the season against two top-notch opponents, falling to Louisiana College on Thursday night and UT Dallas on Saturday. Freshman guard Michaela Robertson was the leading scorer in both of those games. Then, earlier this week, both teams returned home for a Tuesday night matchup with Covenant College in the Hangar Dome. The women took the court first, trying to notch their first win of the season against the undefeated Scots. Majors were down by 3 at the half, but things seemed to turn around at the break. Majors taking a 5-point lead midway through the half. Freshman Tori Morgan got the hot hand draining some outside jumpers. She netted a team-high 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Some other freshmen played major roles also. Guard Michaela Robertson chipped in 11 points and came up big with 2 key steals. And freshman post player Maya Brooks had 9 points and was very tough on the boards with 8 rebounds. And senior captain Lovey Love, gotta love that name, came up big with 10 points. And sophomore guard Samantha Perez had 9 points, and she dished out 6 big assists. It was a nail-biter at the end. Perez drove the lane for 2. It's tied at 73 all. Covenant scores to go back up by 2, but then Maya Brooks dropped in this layup with only 7 seconds left in the game. We're tied at 75 all. But unbelievably, Covenant hit a last-second floater to steal the win at 77-75, the final score. Coach Tim Wise's men's basketball team then took the court, hoping to improve on their 1-1 record. In the first half, senior Nick Cortese had the hot hand. On the night, Nick threw in 15 points to lead the major effort. He also came down with 5 rebounds and handed out 2 assists. Good night for the senior leader, Nick Cortese. Tully Gilligan was also big for the majors. Tully put up 12 points. He had 3 assists, and on defense, he was busy pulling off 4 steals. It was also another good night for the big guy, Brandon Allison. He was tough on the boards with a team-high 9 rebounds along with 9 points. And Murray Kastner came off the bench to help the majors with 8 points and 2 steals. The majors led the Scots by 3 at the half and never looked back, improving to 2-1 with a 60-54 win over Covenant College on Tuesday night.
This past week, the Majors football team dominated the conference awards, winning 3 of them. Coach Aaron Pelch brought home Coach of the Year, senior quarterback Garrett Pinciotti brought home the Player of the Year on the offense, and sophomore defensive lineman Zach Bell brought home the Best Defensive Player Award. Now, here's Coach of the Year, Aaron Pelch.
Give me your thoughts about the impact that Pinciotti and Zach Bell had on this team this year.
Yeah, I think Garrett obviously had a little bit of a down year last year, we thought, and then him coming back and playing very, very well, the impact that he had just with the confidence of the other players. When he's playing well, I think that it gave our offense confidence, whether it was in the run game, was the offensive line, or the receivers catching the football, knowing it was going to be where it was supposed to be. So he had an enormous impact on the offense. And And then also that has an impact on the way that we play defense. We feel like we can play a little bit more free, do some things, take some more chances because, we know that he's got the ability to help us score. As far as Zach goes, the impact that he had defensively was unmatched, I think, obviously in the conference, which is why they selected him as his Conference Player of the Year. His playmaking ability in critical situations and just his overall playmaking ability was outstanding. And we're excited because he's still got a lot of room to grow, and 2 years left to play, and he's done a great job for us.
Finished 7-3, co-conference champions, maybe not as good as you would have liked, but still a great, successful year.
Yeah, I think that, every coach is going to tell you that he's not very happy unless you go undefeated and win the national championship. But yeah, 7-3, felt like we probably really could have been an 8-2 or 9-1 football team. I think if we'd have played a little bit better in a couple situations. But I think the best part about our football team is, we go 7-3 and rebound from having a bad season last season to having a better season this season and being really competitive. And none of the players are satisfied with the finish. And so I think that's the best part about our program right now is there's a true desire and drive, and there's an expectation that we should be better than we were, even at 7-3. So it's exciting to coach a group of guys like that.
Now here's the Southern Athletic Association all-conference teams. On offense, first of all, the Majors placed 4 players on this offensive unit. Quarterback Garrett Pinciani, the Player of the Year. Then we had wide receiver Keegan Joplin, the senior out of Coppell, Texas. Offensive lineman Nathan Quick, another senior from Covington, Louisiana, was on the team, as was offensive lineman Kyle McDonald, another senior from Sugar Land, Texas. Those 4 on the all-conference first team. And on defense, the all-conference team included 5 Millsaps Majors: defensive back Jonathan Moore, linebacker Jeb White, the senior out of Natchez, defensive lineman Zach Bell, the Player of the Year on defense, and defensive lineman Jeff Milner, the sophomore out of Birmingham, Alabama, and on the defensive line as well, Joyner Stewart, the junior out of Foley, Alabama. Those 5 Millsaps Majors on the all-conference first-team defensive unit.
We're in the Hangar Dome, so when we come back, we'll preview the women's basketball team.
It's a new day in Jackson television. We are Metro TV, serving Madison, Rankin, and Hinds counties with a local flavor. It's all about local people, local places, local events, local business, and local fun. You'll see your friends, your neighbors, and your family on Metro TV. Our goal is to showcase the positive aspects of life in the Jackson metro area, from Brandon and Pearl to Madison, Ridgeland, Flowood, Clinton, Raymond, and Jackson. We'll provide professional quality, informative, entertaining, and fun programming specifically serving the Tri-County metro area. So get to know us. We are Metro TV.
Welcome back. Lose the Jackets. Basketball season's here, everybody. And last year, we all know the women's basketball team made their mark, finishing 22-6 and competing for the first time ever in the SCAC championship game. Now, let's sit down with reigning Coach of the Year, Chuck Winkelman, as he tells us what he expects from his team this season.
You got 5 minutes. Reset the clock for 5 minutes and run it. Here we go. Come on. Keep track of your score.
22-6 last year, Chuck. Great season. How do you process that now? What does look back at that team and that success?
Here we go.
I think probably, to me personally, there are things about that season that yeah, we can learn from, and maybe the returners, having inside as people and as players. But outside of that, I think you have to move on, because every season to me is a different team. Maybe when I was younger, I would use that word, we're gonna build on this success. I don't think it works that way so much all the time. I think in and of itself, it's a new culture that I think you build every year from the bottom up. You form a team from the bottom up. Now, I go back and say the returners might bring attributes or characteristics that they've learned how to win and be successful that carry over. I get that part. But in and of itself, it's a new season, and I just hesitate to go, well, we'll just build on that and continue. I think take some of those things, but it's a new team.
You lost only one senior. She was an important senior to lose, sure. But you've got a good core of returnees coming back. Let's talk about those first of all, your key players coming back.
Yeah, and Janice is, you can't replace Janice Okeke. She, I think we miss her leadership, her just strong, her will to win, her work habits. I think we definitely miss that because we're so young. I think, the freshmen probably this year, without that strong leadership and that voice from her and just how she goes about every day, have had to maybe learn a little bit more on their own. And but we're making progress. We've got, Lovey Love and Elizabeth Sigafus are the two seniors that have come back. And, Elizabeth is really an amazing individual because she's the one who I thought last year made the most sacrifices on this team. She truly put team above self in terms of how her role kind of changed. I'm really impressed with her. She's a great example for a lot of young people in our country who, playing half a game isn't good enough. You got to have, you figure out in your mind, I'm a 30-minute player kind of thing. Well, she is an unbelievable example. And I think Lovey might go through some of that this year too because of our newcomers and experience a bit of a change and just going to have to value some younger people who can make us better as a team. But both, I think, are doing really, really well as seniors. I'm real proud of them. And then there's other returners, Shea White, of course. Velvet Johnson is a significant returner. Brittany Earl. Tasha Mbenza's had a broken hand and injury, but I like that core of that group. So overall, we're making progress.
More direct drives to the rim. Sam, it's got to be more direct drives. We don't want to go sideline to sideline. Crossover, put them in jail on the first step. Direct drive off your lead foot, put them in jail on the second step. But we need more direct drive to the rim.
But you brought in a huge freshman recruiting class this year. Talk about some of the newcomers that are going to have an impact this year.
Well, it's early, so it's hard to, I don't know completely where we're going with that yet. I would say probably early on, it's pretty obvious. If I stood up in front of the team and gave them these three names, I think I'd get all yes votes. Tori Morgan out of Tuscaloosa, Maya Brooks out of Montgomery, Alabama, and Michaela Roberson out of Louisville, Texas. Those three freshmen have clearly jumped ahead of the pack, so to speak, and have identified, themselves based on their production that, Coach, I'm ready and I can produce right now. And they are. Clearly, they've kind of separated themselves.
Let's take those top three freshmen you mentioned. Individually, what does each one bring to the table talent-wise?
Well, I think with Tori, you got a kid that's got a little length, who has good range. She can shoot the three. What I've been impressed with early with her is if you get up there and challenge that shot and close on her, she can actually put it down a dribble or two and do something with it, which is, pretty good at our level at 6 feet tall to be able to do stuff like that. And then Maya Brooks, she's just a raw. Maya's got the sky's the limit. She's just a raw kid that's blessed with a lot of physical ability, super strong. Just got to continue to learn the game and learn the system. But she is going to be a special player for us. And then Michaela Roberson is played at big school in Dallas-Fort Worth, great basketball. And she's really, really good. She's
actually been your leading scorer so far.
Yeah, and she, I've coached in that area before years ago, so I knew the competition level. And you'd watch tape and know who she's playing against and see some of the numbers. And I know our high school team had a lot of injury problems, I think, her senior year, and maybe they just kind of went under the wire, or she did because of that. And we're real glad she's here, because she's not so much a pleasant surprise. I kind of had an idea, but she's doing a lot of really, really good things, and just got a good feel and flow for the game. And she's willing to, she's aggressive, and she's not waiting on coach to tell her what to do all the time. She's just gonna make a play, and for the most part, she's making the right play.
What are your expectations of the season?
I just, you know, I don't know. I think we focus on what counts. We focus on what counts, and we've paraphrased something from the writings of John Wooden, former coach at UCLA, and just that, you know, there is no shame in losing to someone who's better than you if you've given everything. We call it ceaseless effort. If they just give me ceaseless effort on a day-to-day basis, hey, let the chips fall where they may.
And maybe all of that plays into what I think I saw on the front of your playbooks, win every day.
Yep.
What's the significance of that?
That just goes back to what we say in their very first page in that book when you get into it. It's our deal. It's not a lot about goals, or I think goals are great. You know, short-term, long-term, sometimes they have to be modified, but we just really kind of stick with what counts. And if we're doing what counts, and they know that, we'll win every day. Because, you know, like in football, you got your game on Friday, you're trying to win Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And oftentimes, if you've done that, it'll show up on Friday. And that's kind of where we're coming with that. You know, it's not all about game day. It's way more about what happens well before we get there.
When we come back, we'll meet some of the key players of this year's women's basketball team.
It's a new day in Jackson Television. We are Metro TV, serving Madison, Rankin, and Hinds counties with a local flavor. It's all about local people, local places, local events, local business, and local fun. You'll see your friends, your neighbors, and your family on Metro TV. Our goal is to showcase the positive aspects of life in the Jackson metro area, from Brandon and Pearl to Madison, Ridgeland, Flowood, Clinton, Raymond, and Jackson. We'll provide professional quality, informative, entertaining, and fun programming specifically serving the Tri-County metro area. So get to know us. We are Metro TV.
You may all know last season the girls finished 22-6. But you didn't know they only lost one senior player, and they've brought in a ton of fresh faces. In fact, the women's team this year is bringing in the largest recruiting class in the history of women's basketball here at Millsaps. Here are some of the key players on this year's team.
What do you expect your role to be on this year's basketball team?
This year, since I'm the captain, the role is to be a leader. I got to lead my team to our goals and our expectations of how we want us to be. That's my role. Yeah, that's basically it. Just here to be a leader. I just want to lead us to be successful, to grow, to get better, and to, you know, lead our incoming freshmen since we have such a big class to teach them, and make sure they stay and everybody still stay and be a senior and graduate.
What do you expect out of yourself the most this season, and has Coach told you he has high expectations for you?
Yes, we all have high expectations this year. And I think the biggest thing I can contribute to the team is really my leadership and just helping my teammates on the floor and off the floor in any way I can.
What are you expecting out of yourself and your teammates this season?
Out of myself, I'm definitely expecting to play hard and get Defensive Player of the Year again. From my teammates, I expect the same thing. We were a good defensive team last year. We held teams to low points, and I expect the same.
Well, what's your role on this Millsaps basketball team?
My role would be I guess an active post. I mean, we have such a diverse team that everybody brings something different to the team, but I think my role is mainly to be a post and just be as effective in that area as I can, or in that position as I can.
Well, has Coach given you some expectations, or do you have expectations of yourself for the season?
He has given me very high expectations, actually, and I think it's only fair to myself and the team if I do the same. So I have big shoes to fill with Janice or KK graduating, and then many different freshmen coming to this team. And I just think that everybody, like I said before, has something different to bring to this position. I think I can bring something special.
Gotta ask you, how'd you get the name Lovey Love? Is that a nickname or a real name?
No, it's my real name. My great-grandmother was named Lovey, and my last name just happened to be Love. And my mom told me that when she had a girl, she was going to name her Lovey. So here I am. It's my name, Lovey Love.
Shatoya White, you go by Shay. Tell us how you got that nickname.
My middle name is actually Deshay, so my parents just always called me Shay. My brother was Tay, and it just went and stuck.
Why don't you tell us how you ended up here at Millsaps?
Well, I came from a private high school, and I really liked the small time, get to know everybody, kind of feel the school. And one thing, I walked on campus, and just walking through with the recruiter, everybody smiled at you. Everybody said hi. It was just so friendly, and I just realized this is where I needed to be.
Tell us about your high school sports background.
Well, I went to the Montgomery Academy in Montgomery, Alabama, and I've been playing basketball since the 6th grade. And I actually started playing basketball at MA because a bunch of my teammates from the Y went to the school, and so I kind of transitioned over there. And started playing volleyball, basketball, and track. And then it just boiled down to basketball eventually until I graduated.
What's your favorite sports memory that you can think of?
I would say my favorite sports memory would be in high school, we went to the state championship maybe every year I played. And my favorite memory would probably be my senior year, although we would get to the state championship and maybe you lose because we were smaller. Just having that opportunity to play in that big stage and just see how it feels to be in a championship game, that memory I carry with me now, to just want to be a winner always and try to get better and grow.
Tell us about your best high school memory on the basketball court.
I guess that would have to be my senior night. I was trying to score, I don't know, I was trying to reach some goal scoring wise, and I couldn't hit a shot to save my life. And my teammates were doing everything they could to get me the ball and trying to get me open. They're setting, double, triple screens, anything, trying to get me open and get me to score. And I remember finally in the last 3 minutes of the game, I finally started hitting everything. And so I guess it was just the dedication of my teammates at the end, just trying to get me to that goal and help me out. And when I finally hit it with 30 seconds left to go in the game, it was awesome. So that really was a great moment for me.
Okay, well, tell us how you ended up here at Millsaps. Obviously, you came to play basketball, but what are your other goals and aspirations?
I ended up getting scouted from a basketball tournament by Coach Winkelman. I was going to go to Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches, Texas. And, the academic standpoint from Millsaps was a lot more challenging here. And my parents were like, you're going to that school, you're going to get a good degree, you're going to get a good job. So that was the choice.
Well, who do you try to model yourself after? Who's your favorite basketball player?
I would have to say Tamika Catchings. She might not get all the attention that most players like Candace Parker or Candace Wiggins might get, but her effort is something that I really, really want to try to emulate and model on the court.
I guess my biggest role model, I really like Dwayne Wade. I like the way he plays. He's tough, he's smart, but I also like some of the things he does off the court. I like how he's always trying to get better, that kind of thing. So I guess he would be my biggest role model.
Or who do you model yourself after, man or a woman that plays?
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
Definitely. He's got the best assist-turnover ratio, in the NBA as a point guard, and I'm hoping to get there. I'm right Right now I'm at about 1.5% and he's at about 3%. So I got a long ways to go, but I'm definitely trying to get there.
Well, you're a senior here at Millsaps. This is your last year of basketball, last year of school. What are you studying and what are you planning on doing with your degree one day?
I'm majoring in elementary education with a minor in biology. I plan to teach after graduate baby coach. Also, that's why I love having the opportunity to be a leader on the team, because I think that will also take to when I be a teacher, being a leader in the classroom, being an encourager. Yeah, those things make me be a great leader now. The things I learned in my education is because one day being a teacher, I would say that.
You were a part of last year's team, which was very successful. What do you miss most about last year's team, and what are you hoping to build on from last year?
I think what I miss most from last year isn't a thing, it's a person. I miss Janice Okeke. You know, she's one of those people you can't replace. You can't replace her friendship and her leadership and her intensity and her love for the game. But I think this year we can really draw from that and show that to our freshmen and show our love for it, you know, show what Janice showed us.
Why is it that you like defense so much and, you know, offense isn't really your game?
Well, if you ask any great coach, you know, they always say defense is a must, offense is a plus. You know, you score from your defensive end, and that has been instilled in me ever since I was, you know, playing Little League with my dad on my dad's team. And it's always been my thing because I've been quick, and, you know, mentally it's easier for me to be one step ahead of the offensive player just because I'm good at reading stuff, which helps me be a better point guard. And it's just always been something that I've been good at because I've been faster, I've been smaller. So getting able to get in defensive position and steal the ball has always been, you know, good for me as far as athletically.
It's a new day in Jackson television. We are Metro TV, serving Madison, Rankin, and Hinds counties with a local flavor. It's all about local people, local places, local events, local business, and local fun. You'll see your friends, your neighbors, and your family on Metro TV. Our goal is to showcase the positive aspects of life in the Jackson metro area, from Brandon and Pearl to Madison, Ridgeland, Flowood, Clinton, Raymond, and Jackson. We'll provide professional quality, informative, entertaining, and fun programming specifically serving the Tri-County metro area. So get to know us. We are Metro TV.
Hey, that's everything for this week's edition of the Major Rundown. Tune in next week as we preview the men's basketball team as they make their run for a championship title. Remember, you can catch us on the air every Wednesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. on Metro TV. Also, go to the web at gomajors.com and on the Millsaps Athletics YouTube channel. I'm Hugo Cordova, and that's it for this week's edition of the Major Rundown.